Oh God, let's dive into the world of Wendy Williams and how she tried to warn us about some of the biggest names in the music industry. Grab your popcorn because this tea is scalding. First things first, let's talk about how much we're missing Wendy's perspective on all the drama surrounding Diddy right now. Can't you just imagine her in that iconic purple chair saying,
"We come from a very homosexual era of hip hop as well." There was a radio personality once upon a time, her name was Wendy Williams, and she was practically burned at the stake for talking about such. And now it's all come full circle. There were many situations, none of which to talk about, but there were many situations back in the day in my career, and it's all coming full circle now, so.
Oh, how we miss that classic Wendy energy. But here's the thing, y'all. Wendy wasn't just throwing shade for the sake of it. She was trying to warn us about people like Diddy and Jay Z way back when. Remember this?
Quite honestly, I think that this is the kind of couple that will stay together because it's good for business and because they don't want to disappoint us. They reportedly are trying to figure out a way to split without divorcing. In other words, a hood divorce.
Beyonce's true age, check. Yeah.
Well, what is her true?
Now, I don't know about y'all, but it looks like Miss Wendy Williams might be owed a big apology. She caught so much heat for talking about this stuff, but let's break down everything she said and see how it holds up today. Let's rewind to 2009 when Charlemagne the God was Wendy's radio co-host. Wendy had former bad boy rapper Mark Curry on her show to talk about his book Dancing with the Devil, How Puff Burned the Bad Boys of Hip Hop. During that interview, Mark dropped some serious tea about Diddy, saying, "This is a man that has a shadow of things that follow him, and it will rain on you too." He was talking about the dark clouds surrounding Diddy, and Wendy was nodding along the whole time. But Wendy didn't stop there. She had a lot to say about Diddy's relationship with Cassie, especially when it came to the power dynamics between them. Let's take a listen.
You know, my thing about when you date a mogul is that it's really difficult to avoid them, because if you use your head, you never know when they're gonna pop up on the scene. Like, he's mogul, like he can hire a plane right now, zoom it to South Africa, land on the roof of the hotel where she's staying, okay? Pay people off at the front desk, give me the key and let me up in her room. Like, I'm already paranoid as a person. But to know that somebody could actually swoop down on me in the middle of nothing would scare the bejesus out of me.
Now, doesn't this sound eerily similar to what came out in Cassie's lawsuit against Diddy? In that lawsuit, Cassie described in detail how Diddy was prone to uncontrollable rage and subjected her to savage beatings. She talked about losing her memory because of how much Diddy allegedly abused her, feeling suicidal, and being forced to hook up with male prostitutes while Diddy filmed it. Cassie also accused Diddy of forcing his way into her home and assaulting her near the end of their relationship in 2018. According to her, Diddy brought her into his extravagant, fast-paced lifestyle shortly after she met him and signed to his label when she was just 19 and he was pushing 40. That power dynamic Wendy was talking about, it was definitely there. But y'all, Wendy's tea spilling didn't come without consequences. Diddy allegedly tried to get even with her and had her blackballed for exposing him. In her 2004 book, The Wendy Williams Experience, Wendy wrote that she had contempt for Diddy because he tried to ruin her career single-handedly. It didn't stop there. In 2005, during her radio show, Wendy claims she was almost jumped by the girl group Total, who was signed to Diddy's Bad Boy Records. She hinted that Diddy was involved during a 2019 episode of her talk show.
I'm rapping in my headphones and I'm going downstairs. My new boyfriend at the time, the bad Kevin, he was picking me up. But no, this is when he was the good Kevin, right? So I'm walking in the elevator with my intern at the time, Skeletor, but look, I'm like, why is everybody looking down at the sidewalk? I mean, noses were pressed to the glass. And I get downstairs and find this girl group jump out of a gypsy cab to come after me, to kick. And I'm like, for what? You know what I said was true. You all are broke and you were living in the projects. And that was that. But the point I'm making is, You know, Amanda, you shouldn't have, I didn't get back on the radio and talk about it. What I did was desire to do better so I can have a purple chair and talk about it right now and then have the whole scene play out in a lifetime.
Wendy even suggested that Diddy was behind her firing from radio. In a 2013 interview with Vlad TV, she talked about how her firing revolved around her speculation about a certain hip-hop musician.
Come from a very homosexual era of hip-hop as well. There was a radio personality once upon a time. Her name was Wendy Williams, and she was practically burned at the stake for talking about such. And now it's all come full circle. There were many situations, none of which to talk about, but there were many situations back in the day in my career, and it's all coming full circle now, so.
Now, fast forward to today, and it looks like a lot of what Wendy was saying is coming to light. Diddy was recently arrested in Manhattan, about 6 months after federal authorities raided his homes in Los Angeles and Miami. The feds interviewed more than 50 people and witnesses, and that number is expected to grow. In the grand jury indictment, federal agents reported finding not only 1,000 bottles of baby oil, but also 3 AR-15s at Diddy's residences. Can you imagine Wendy's reaction to those 1,000 bottles of baby oil? She would have had a field day. The indictment details how Diddy allegedly hosted wild, drug-fueled parties called freak-offs. It accuses him of threatening and coercing women and others around him to fulfill his desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct. He's also accused of using his staff, money, and influence to build a criminal enterprise where he allegedly took part in various crimes, including forced labor, extortion, bribery, and obstruction of justice. The indictment describes numerous occasions, dating back to at least 2009, where Diddy allegedly mistreated women by dragging them, throwing objects at them, and more. It also claims that Diddy lured women in under the pretense of a relationship and forced them to engage in acts using physical force and other forms of coercion. These freak-offs are described as elaborate, produced, intimate performances that Diddy allegedly arranged, directed, and often electronically recorded. The indictment notes how Diddy's staff would book hotel rooms and stock them with baby oil, lubricant, sheets, and extra lighting. Apparently, these parties could last for days, with Diddy and others receiving IV fluids to recover. Now, didn't Wendy blow the whistle on these parties years ago? She was saying that questionable things were happening at these gatherings, and now we're seeing it all come to light. Wendy also talked about the 1999 incident involving Jennifer Lopez. She thought Diddy was a douchebag for how he handled the situation and said something fishy was going on. Well, didn't we get receipts confirming that Shine was set up to take the fall?
And Puffy, you had me speeding through numerous traffic lights, doing in a nightclub. You remember, you had me do the perp walk and spend a few hours in jail? Die!
And let's not forget about Wendy's interview with Kareen Superhead Steffens. Kareen was one of the first people to expose Diddy, talking about how he passed her off at a party and how they ended up hooking up. She also mentioned witnessing activities at Diddy's parties and how paranoid he was about being exposed. Now, when it comes to Jay Z, Wendy was just as vocal. She talked about Jay Z allegedly hooking up with younger women like Foxy Brown. Foxy and Jay Z collaborated throughout the 90s, with Jay writing several songs on Foxy's debut album. Some of the lyrics he had her singing were pretty questionable, especially considering she was only 15 at the time. There were rumors that Jay Z, at 27, was hooking up with 15-year-old Foxy. Wendy wasn't afraid to speak on this.
Foxy and Jay Z had
I'll Be. Yeah,
I'll Be?
That was a good one.
Okay, Foxy was the star of that. Jay Z was standing in the corner, wringing his hands, talking about, okay, all right, what do I do next? And then, you know, this was allegedly a romantical thing. It's all right, I'll say alleged, but we know. Yeah, she hit it before Beyonce. Allegedly.
There were even reports of Jay Z funding Foxy's shopping trips and paying for her hair and nail salon visits while she was still in high school. Some people who went to school with Foxy claim that Jay Z used to pick her up from school. But it wasn't just about Foxy Brown. There are rumors that some of the things Diddy is being accused of, Jay Z has also participated in. Remember what Jaguar Wright said?
About Jay Z. And he was working with R. Kelly, and they were making so many records together. You know, they made all of those records together. They both Aaliyah. They shared so much in common.
Jaguar Wright has been doing a lot of whistleblowing, and people have been calling her crazy. But what if she's onto something? Even Nas suggested that Jay Z knew what R. Kelly was doing with young women, especially Aaliyah. In a radio interview with Wendy, Nas said, "You can't tell me that Jay didn't see a 14-year-old girl come into the studio and sit on R. Kelly's lap." Now, if the feds are going after Diddy for illegally transporting young women across borders, maybe they should be looking at Jay Z too. The way he's being mentioned together with Diddy and R. Kelly is a little sus. And let's not forget about Jay Z's relationship with Beyonce. They've tried to convince the public that they started dating when Beyonce was 19. But people from back in the day say they were together when Beyonce was much younger. There are even allegations about how controlling Jay Z has been with Beyonce over the years. What Wendy Williams was trying to tell us is that all these people, Diddy, Jay Z, R. Kelly, they're all cut from the same cloth. And just like she said, everything is coming full circle. R. Kelly and Diddy are already facing the consequences of their actions, and it might only be a matter of time before Jay Z's skeletons come out of the closet too. So, what do y'all think? Does Wendy deserve an apology for all the backlash she got for being a whistleblower? And how do you think she would have reacted to Diddy's arrest if she was still on air? One thing's for sure, Wendy was ahead of her time, spilling tea that's only now being confirmed. It makes you wonder what other industry secrets she knew about that we're still in the dark about. Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more piping hot tea. This is your hot gossip, keeping you up to date on all the messiest celebrity drama. Stay thirsty, my friends. Bye. Thirsty, my